Hello there, and welcome to the show. My name is Adam, and tonight we're diving into a topic that's a little less eat, pray, love, and a little more stay, watch, live. Yes, we're talking about international travel. Specifically, we're going to look at the places where, if you're an American, your vacation photos might end up on a very different kind of news report. The kind where your family is holding a press conference on the lawn and everything looks a bit tense. Our purpose tonight is simple, yet profoundly important. This list is carefully compiled from the most recent travel advisories, safety data, and on-the-ground intelligence. It's not about fear-mongering, it's about being prepared. Think of me as your slightly more anxious but hopefully more entertaining travel agent. So, before you book that non-refundable ticket to a place described in headlines as volatile or war-torn, let's take a moment. The world is a vast, beautiful place, but some parts are currently experiencing a rough patch. Staying informed is the most critical step in any travel plan. More important than packing enough socks or remembering your passport. Grab your inflatable neck pillow and let's begin our journey into where not to go. Right, let's start with Afghanistan. The US State Department has slapped a big, flashing, neon level 4, do not travel advisory on it, which is their most serious warning. The security situation is about as stable as a Jenga tower during an earthquake. There's a persistent threat of armed conflict, civil unrest, and terrorism. Groups like ISIS-K are active, and the threat of kidnapping and hostage-taking targeting US citizens is incredibly high. And here's the kicker: if you do get into trouble, the US Embassy in Kabul has suspended all operations. That means there is no one there to help you. You're completely on your own. The ability of the US government to provide any routine or emergency services in Afghanistan is nil. Summary: active conflict zone, high risk of kidnapping, and absolutely no consular assistance. Next up, Syria. A country with a history so rich and ancient, unfortunately its recent history is a brutal and heartbreaking tragedy that is still unfolding. US State Department Level 4, do not travel. The dangers are everything: terrorism, ongoing armed conflict, shelling, airstrikes, even chemical attacks. Imagine trying to enjoy a historic site while worrying which faction controls which street, and whether today is a good day for an artillery barrage. On top of the war, there's arbitrary detention. The Syrian government has a long history of detaining US citizens, sometimes for years without due process. The US suspended embassy operations in Damascus in 2012. If you're arrested or injured, there is no American diplomat to call. Traveling to Syria right now is like deciding to go for a casual swim in an active volcano. The potential for catastrophic harm is a certainty. North Korea, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, a different kind of danger. An intensely controlled state. The central risk is arbitrary arrest and long-term detention. Innocent mistakes, taking a photo of the wrong thing, having a Bible, or disrespecting leader images, can have severe consequences. Since 2017, US passports are not valid for travel to, in, or through North Korea without special validation. For most Americans, it's effectively illegal to go. There is no US consular presence. Sweden acts as protecting power, but their ability to help Americans is severely limited. The tragic case of Otto Warmbier is a horrific reminder of the potential consequences. North Korea is a country to be avoided with every fiber of your being. Let's move on to Iraq, another country long in American news cycles. Iraq carries a level 4, do not travel advisory. While large-scale conflict lessened, the country remains volatile with terrorism, bombings, ambushes, and targeted assassinations. Anti-US militia groups view Americans as targets. Kidnapping is a huge concern. Westerners are high-value targets for terrorist and criminal groups. The US Embassy and Consulate operate under strict movement restrictions and fortified compounds. Their ability to help you outside is limited. If the people with diplomatic immunity are on high alert, your plan to wander Baghdad markets with a fanny pack and a guidebook is, frankly, suicidal. Our next destination is Yemen, located at the southern end of the Arabian Peninsula. If you thought previous countries sounded bad, Yemen might take the cake. It's the site of one of the world's worst ongoing humanitarian disasters: active civil war, missile attacks, shelling, and airstrikes. Terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula and ISIS Yemen pose a very high threat and are known for kidnapping foreigners. The infrastructure is decimated, hospitals bombed, medicines scarce, clean water a luxury, medical care is virtually non-existent. The US Embassy suspended operations in 2015. There is no US presence, no assistance for citizens. Traveling to Yemen is not an adventure, it's walking into a humanitarian catastrophe where bombs, bullets, kidnappers, and disease are real threats. There is absolutely no safety net. It is no place for a tourist. Now to Somalia, a country long associated with failed state dynamics. For decades, it has been plagued by factional fighting, a breakdown of central authority, and pervasive violence. Al-Shabaab controls large swaths and routinely carries out attacks, targeting government buildings, hotels, restaurants, anywhere people gather. They specifically target Westerners for kidnapping and murder. Crime and violence are rampant. Offshore piracy remains a very real threat in the Gulf of Aden and Indian Ocean. Ships, yachts, and fishing vessels are at risk. The U.S. re-established a presence in 2018, but the embassy operates under heavy security with limited ability to assist citizens outside the compound. Traveling to Somalia is effectively volunteering to enter a chaotic free-for-all where terrorist groups operate with impunity and the rule of law is gone. Heading back to North Africa, Libya. After Gaddafi's overthrow, hopes were high, but the country descended into a complex civil war. Rival governments and armed militias operate with near-total impunity, creating a security vacuum and a level 4 advisory. Crime and kidnapping are pervasive. Foreigners, including U.S. citizens, are frequently kidnapped for ransom or political leverage. There is little effective law enforcement. Clashes between militias can erupt with no notice. Tripoli has seen intense fighting. The U.S. suspended embassy operations in 2014. Consular services are handled remotely from Tunis. There is no physical U.S. presence to assist you on the ground. Libya. A gamble with your life in a country where armed actors control the streets and Westerners are prime targets. If you run into trouble, there is no easy way out. Now for something a little different, Venezuela. A country in a state of profound and catastrophic collapse. Years of political turmoil, economic mismanagement, hyperinflation, scarcity of food and medicine, social breakdown. The most immediate threat is violent crime. Armed robbery, carjacking, express kidnappings. Caracas has one of the highest homicide rates in the world. The U.S. Embassy suspended operations in 2019. Power outages, unreliable water, collapsed healthcare. If you get sick or injured, the risk is severe. Venezuela is beautiful but in a state of tragedy. It's no place for an American traveler right now. Next, South Sudan, the world's youngest nation. Independence in 2011 gave way to brutal civil war and ethnic violence. There is a humanitarian crisis, fragile peace agreements, and unpredictable violence. Intercommunal clashes over cattle and land are common. Crime, carjackings, home invasions, and attacks on aid workers, foreigners can be targeted. Infrastructure is poor and communications unreliable. The U.S. Embassy in Juba is open but with limited capacity. Non-essential staff are often ordered to depart. It's far too unstable for tourism. If the government is telling its people to get out, you as a tourist should not be trying to get in. And finally, Iran, a nation with a rich history and stunning architecture, but fraught political tension with the U.S. The people are famously hospitable, but the political relationship between Iran and the United States is abysmal. The greatest risk for U.S. citizens is wrongful detention, especially dual Iranian-American citizens, often on baseless charges like espionage. There is no U.S. embassy in Iran. The Swiss act as protecting power, but with very limited access. If you are detained, you're effectively cut off from direct U.S. consular help. Protests can erupt and be met with brutal crackdowns. Anti-American rhetoric and suspicion can quickly put you in danger. So while Isfahan and Persepolis are dream destinations, the risk of your trip turning into a geopolitical nightmare is simply too great right now. So there you have it, a whirlwind tour of places where your American passport makes you less of a welcome guest, and more of a high-value target. Before booking anything, check the U.S. State Department Travel Advisory. Read advisories, understand the risks, and make informed decisions. Don't let a cheap flight or an Instagram photo lure you into danger. Your personal safety is always the #1 priority. Be smart, be prepared, stay safe out there. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for more travel safety guides. Good night.